Hello, I'm Jennifer with Jennifer Decorates, and today's video is all about making an Easter wreath, so stay tuned. So I don't know about you, but when it comes this time of year, when we begin to have a few warm days and I see daffodils blooming, I know I have made it through another dreadful winter and I am so happy. I am ready to get some color on my front door and I am going to make a spring wreath. Now I chose a grapevine wreath. So for my ribbon, I don't know if this is a new product out or I've just missed it, but I found it. It's cheesecloth on a roll and I got a very, very, very pale pink and a white. Now normally when I'm making a wreath to go outside that's going to stay out for a long period of time, I always say choose ribbon with wire so it'll uphold the bow look. But in this case, I really want it to look kind of droopy. Now I have a video on how to make a bow, so I'll link to that. But essentially, I'm just going to undo both of them and make a bow as if I was just tying a bow on a dress. So, right over left and left over right. I'm just gonna make one big bow. It's going to take a lot of fluffing, but it's going to look really pretty. So I'm just going to take it and pull out each loop just to see how big the bow's going to be. Once you get it on your wreath and you're done adding your flowers and you're completely finished, and usually after I hang it, that's when I really do a lot of fluffing with the bow. But what I love about this is just how soft and droopy this is. This would make a great bow if you guys we're making a bow for a baby shower. All right, I'm going to put this on the wreath. Since it's just such a light weight bow, I am actually just going to hot glue it straight on to the wreath. I've got my ribbon glued on to the wreath, and I'm gonna actually, for this design, have a ribbon in the middle, and then I'm gonna kind of build up from there, and then just for the whole top of the grapevine wreath, I'm just gonna leave that totally alone. Now I like to start with my largest flowers first, and then I go to medium and then small. I'm gonna start with this beautiful pink cabbage rose, and at the end of the video I'm going to tell you how many flowers I used and all the different kinds, so you don't have to keep up with that at the moment. Now I'm ready to add my medium-sized flowers. Now you want to remember when you're doing a wreath to kind of remember to do the top right here, because sometimes it seems like everything's in the way and then we go to hang it on the door and we're like, I should have put flowers there. So we're gonna do that now. That right in there and let it sit. Now you'll notice I have a cutting board on my desk. It works perfect for any glue that kind of falls through the grapevine and it keeps from damaging my desk. So for this leftover flower, I'm going to cut it kind of long on both of them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick each of them on the end like this and one over here and glue it in. And then that's going to kind of trail out the rest of the design in the wreath. Sometimes I like to keep it a little bit full in the middle, and then as we come out to the edges, we're going to use the smaller flowers. Okay, I'm going to turn my wreath around. All right. And now, sometimes really what you want to do is kind of hold your wreath up just a little bit, and you can see how it's going to hang on your door. And now I'm ready to add these white flowers in between. So I'm going to glue one white flower right about there, and then another one right about there. And sometimes it's really good to place it first just to see how it looks. And I'm thinking, you know what, that one needs to go a little bit lower. All right, I'm gonna glue them in place. Now I'm just ready to add some really small, dainty flowers to just kind of fill in the rest of this wreath. And I thought, being springtime, these yellow flowers will be perfect. The trick is to not over clutter adding the small flowers. So I'm going to add them pretty sparingly. And like I said before, when I have a lot more flowers grouped here and I really like to scatter it out as I go up, that's when I do the smallest flower pretty high above that last one, and that's kind of the last thing I'll add at the top. So one thing that helps me make my wreaths look really good is I actually, when I'm almost finished with my wreath, in my craft room, I have a big nail where I just hang my wreaths up and then I kind of step back and take a look at them. And then if there's some smaller flowers I want to add to it, I just go ahead and glue it very carefully onto the wreath. So for the very last flower that I want to add, I love these little pink flowers. They come in a bundle so I can take each piece off. And what I like is it's going to give it a little bit of a wispy look. The last thing I want to add to the wreath are some Easter eggs. And I chose some that have the really light pale colors, not really bright, because I kind of want it to go with everything else I've got going on in the wreath. I've added the eggs and I'm finished. The last thing I'm going to do is just trim the tails on the bow at an angle. Well, that's all it takes to make a beautiful spring wreath. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe to my channel because we're going to have a lot more videos coming out later.